Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation, Roadmap to Becoming an Auditor. I'm Mike Richmond, your host at Exemplar Global's Excellence in Auditing Expo 2024. Today's session of the Expo is presented by Bud Waitman. Bud is the president of Qualified Specialists International. He's a longstanding Exemplar Global certified auditor with more than 30 years of service. In this presentation, Bud is going to offer you a step-by-step guide to pursuing a career in auditing. So it should be really interesting for all of us. So Bud, welcome to the Expo. How are you today?
Thank you, Mike. It's fantastic. It's really appreciate the opportunity, and looking forward to putting some information out there that will help young and new upcoming upstarts that want to get involved in the auditing program.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get started, Bud. So welcome and kick it right off anytime you're ready.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Hi, everybody. So what I'd like to do is we have about 13 steps about how to become an auditor. And I'm going to go through those steps and give you a little bit of a brief on each of those areas. So, one of the first things you might want to consider is defining your reason for wanting to become an auditor. There's many different reasons to do it. There's career development. There may be interest. It's continuous learning. I say continuous versus continual because you're always learning if you're auditing. There's new places to go. There's new products and processes to see. You get a chance to travel internationally a lot of times. The cool thing about auditing is it's in every industry and it's international. So your area of expertise and let's say the boundaries of where you work are innumerable. You could go almost any place and do audits. But with every type of audit you do, there are different requirements. So it'd be good to identify what field you'd like to be involved with. These are a few fields that are out there: the quality systems, health and safety, environmental, food safety, governance, risk, compliance, and so forth. So there are many different fields that are out there. This presentation is coming from my background and my experience. Most of my experience is in manufacturing, fabrication, and construction, and mostly in regulatory industries. So it'd be like oil and gas, the nuclear industry, and military demilitarization. That was quite a few years ago. And my field of expertise and disciplines are related to ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and ISO 15001 from the auditor certification requirement standpoint. And I also deal with many other quality management systems and product specifications in the oil and gas industry. So I've been auditing for quite a while, and it's always been enjoyable. So when you're defining your discipline, as I mentioned, these are the three areas that I've been involved in, and 9001, 14001, and 45001. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring up Exemplar's page. And Mike, I'd like you, if you can, contribute to this a little bit. This is showing all the different types of auditor certifications that Exemplar has. It's really a fascinating opportunity.
It is, and thanks, Bud. As you can see, there's a lot of different roads here to becoming an auditor based on your experiences. And if you're beginning this journey, you probably already have some work experience in maybe in manufacturing or a service industry or transactional, what have you. There really is something for all of these different fields, and it's not all ISO. Most of it's ISO, much of it's ISO. But there's many different schemes and standards out there that you might want to investigate. So wherever you're coming from, this is a really good starting point for you to explore where you can go with an auditing career.
Yeah, from 30 years ago when I started, there weren't too many choices. We had health, safety, and environmental. So this is a fantastic opportunity. So the other thing that's could be driving the need for auditors. So one of the aspirations may be, an incentive that there's a need for auditors out there, and that need for auditors is going to be growing. So if you take a look at ISO and ISO standards, as the three I mentioned, there's over 90 different management system standards. And here's ISO homepage. It's in the presentation. You'll have access to the presentation and the link. And this is going through the listing of the different types of ISO standards that are out there. So they'll have the standards that are harmonized structure, and the harmonized structure to be, if you're familiar with 9001, 14,001, and 45,001, you'll see that they all have the same table of contents, sections 1 through 10. The difference is generally in section 6, and as far as planning of the management system, and in section 8, operations, that's where the discipline-specific information comes in. So that makes it very easy for companies to have what is referred to as integrated management systems, where they combine the requirements of more than one quality management system in their organization. So with this chart that's within ISO, you can go in and see which ones are the harmonized standards, and any of them that have the type A are the harmonized standards that will have the 1 through 10 in their table of contents, which is there'll be quite a few of them coming up. So depending on what your area is, there's also ISO 27001 for information security. There's ISO 55001 for energy. So like I said, there's going to be some great opportunities coming up. So in becoming an auditor, you might want to look at your aspirations for becoming an auditor. What are they? There's inspiration. That's the spark that gets you going. There's motivation. That's the drive that's going to get you moving in the direction that you want to. And the aspiration. What is your vision? What do you hope to achieve? So it's going to be important to be confident in yourself and come in with a can-do attitude. That's the only way I can say it. You can't be self-defeating. You got to be confident and just say you're going to do it, and you're going to do it in this amount of time. And some of that time structure will be defined by some of the programs that you may look into. So to start to get into auditing, document your personal goals and what your objectives are. So a good way to start it off is look internally at your own company and see if your own company's doing internal audits, or if they're doing supply chain audits. See if they'll allow you to participate. And if they will, that's a perfect in. And there's still other opportunities if that opportunity is not available to you. Another thing would be to find a mentor in the industry that helps out people that are starting out to audit, finding out what type of auditor certification to go after, finding out what may be the easiest for me to start with so I can get the basic knowledge of auditing in accordance with ISO 19011. So you have two parts of that. You have the audit program requirements, which falls under the ISO 19011 for the qualification of auditors. And then you have the ISO standards that the certified bodies certify organizations to. So a great way to begin is to become a member of the American Society for Quality. And they have an ASQ CQA that has a body of knowledge. And that CQA is a good certification. I had the CQA for maybe 15, 20 years, I would imagine. And with my other certifications, I didn't find the need for the CQA. But what the CQA offers is a body of knowledge, and they have on their page for certified quality auditor this body of knowledge that you can download. And with the ability to download that information, it'll tell you the types of things they're looking for as far as what you need to be an auditor. And this information basically comes from ISO 19011. So it's put together for folks to understand. And the ASQ has some really good training programs on this. In addition to that, the ASQ has regional sections and they have monthly meetings. So it would be good to check in and see, if you have a division somewhere within your area. And they also have an audit division, which is very useful and for the exchange of ideas. And then as a reminder, LinkedIn has numerous news groups on the subject of auditing. So as you're moving forward in your career, you want to learn more about your discipline that you choose. So I chose 9001, and I also work in the oil and gas industry, and that applies to other standards such as the American Petroleum Institute Quality Management System Standards Q1 for manufacturing. And then I wanted to move into environmental, and then I moved into health and safety so I can have integrated management system experience. So why do I want to do that? Well, as I move on in my career, and let's not kid ourselves, our age, if we ever want to retire and take it slower, although I have my own business, I may do something with that part-time, or I may do some work for registration companies. So the auditors that get selected most from registration companies are those folks that have dual certifications or multiple certifications because they're more available. So part of the other things you might want to learn is what types of businesses achieve these certifications. And when I say these certifications, I mean all of them that ISO management system standards that are out there, whatever is within your field of endeavor. And then are there any specific industries requiring organizations to become certified? So there may be. There's a lot of different industries encourage companies to get certification to make sure they can maintain customer satisfaction, and they can have some confidence in that'll reduce nonconformities. And then are there any large companies that require their supply chain to become certified? And there are. In the oil and gas industry, there's some very large manufacturers that are out there, and they're requesting their supply chain to be ISO 9001 certified, or maybe API Spec Q1 certified, which is similar to ISO. And then are there any geographical areas that require certification as a condition for doing business? So that sometimes appears contractually, but those things exist, and it's good for you to know as you start planning your career in auditing. The number 7 is setting your goals for attaining a certification. So depending upon the types of certification you might want to look at, some organizations have a professional auditor, lead auditor, or other advanced auditor grades. So to create a stable beginning, I would definitely recommend going for the ASQ CQA, Certified Quality Auditor, because the CQA can be used as a stepping stone to be a lead auditor under Exemplar Global. There's an arrangement there, and you would get all your basic training from the CQA, or from the CQA program in the body of knowledge. And there are some primers that are out there that organizations sell, such as the Quality Council for Indiana, and they give you test examinations and so forth. So there's a plethora of information that you could use with the primers that are out there, the ASQ training materials, and the different methods that you can learn about the topic of auditing. Not auditing a standard, but the topic of auditing. That's the main difference of the ASQ Certified Quality Auditor. And I think that's going to be the best one for newcomers to jump into. And then number 8, continue to learn. This is a nonstop subject. Every audit I go on, I learn something new. And the situations are different, the people are different, the products are different, the services are different. So it's, learning opportunities are out there. So you could take some self-help courses, such as interviewing. I have a book from Larry King, that his interview techniques. There's, conducting interviews. There are general books that are out there. Team facilitation, understanding body language is a big thing, and cultural protocols are very good thing to understand when you're going into a new country if you haven't been there, because it's easy to without intent offend somebody. I've done it before. It's wasn't on purpose, but you learn pretty quick. So you might have an embarrassing moment, but you get through it and just keep on moving forward. And then keep involved with continual learning related to the subject matter you'll be auditing. So like in my industry, a lot of the auditors that are being sought, they're looking for people who have manufacturing process experience. So manufacturing, assembly, process materials like cements, chemicals, fabrication processes requiring validation in the oil and gas industry, such as welding, non-destructive examination, heat treatment, and some others. And also laboratory processes such as calibration under ISO 17025. And even in the oil and gas, there's laboratory audits that are conducted for some of the certifications. So again, it's a broad opportunity. The ninth item I identified is networking and becoming involved. Don't be a wallflower. Be involved. Get out there. Attend the expos. Attend the trade shows. Subscribe to the news groups. Exemplar has the Auditor Online. I mentioned the LinkedIn news groups. So the Auditor Online is this newsletter here. This is by Exemplar. So start reading these things, learn more about what people are doing, and see what is interesting and actually what is exciting to you, what really makes you tick. And I think that's the way you find out where you want to go with all this. And then the big thing would be considering, let's say, the career pathways. So, okay, so I want to become an auditor. Does that mean I audit for the company I'm working for the rest of my career? Well, when you get into this, you're going to find out you're going to be presented with many different opportunities. There's a ton of different opportunities that are out there. So you could do audits for companies that are hiring auditors to do internal audits or supply chain audits. You could do supply chain audits for larger companies, such as the oil and gas companies here in Houston I've audited for. There's regulatory body audits. There's regulators that are hiring inspection type personnel, audit type personnel. There are certification audits for whatever the management system. So to be either a single management system audit or it could be an integrated management system audit. Like for the American Petroleum Institute, there is licensing audits for product specifications, which allows a company to put the American Petroleum Institute's mark on their product. And there are contractual audits, such as in my field, in the oil and gas industries. I've been on a number of project audits, which would include either process audits, product audits, sometimes management systems. Typically, the focus is on, are we getting the product that we want, and are they correctly manufacturing the products? And I had mentioned regulatory audits earlier. And then how do you find these organizations that hire auditors? So one thing that's very interesting is our accreditation body for the United States, the American National Standards Institute, has listings of various types of companies that are certified. Okay, so you have product certification bodies. That means the ANAB, which is the American National Standards Institute, American National Accreditation Board. They have listings of the product certification bodies. They have management system certification bodies, and they have standards development organizations, for specific topics and or equipment or industries. So what's the difference between the three? Well, the product is like product qualification, like Underwriters Laboratories. The management system certification bodies is like many of the registration companies that are out there. To name a few large ones, you have Norsky Veritas, you have Bureau Veritas, you have the American Bureau of Shipping, you have Lloyd's, you have BSI. So there are probably 100 or more of those certification bodies working in the United States. And the thing with the third point here with the standards development organizations, they hire auditors to go out and audit their product or their licensing requirements. One good example is that of the API. the American Petroleum Institute. So if you take a look at the American Petroleum Institute, this is actually showing you API's composite list. And what API's composite list is, it's a list of their certified companies and or licensed companies. So it allows you to search by a company name, a certification number, or specification. So if I want to search under API Spec Q1, and I want to search under ISO 9001, then I can search, and it gives me all these companies. And just to scan down to the bottom real quick, you have 3,221 companies that may be hiring, or that many potential customers if you want to go out on your own and start auditing companies. So here's a company in Saudi Arabia. So they give you the contact information, their email address. They tell you what their API product certification licensors are for. And they tell you what the Q1 certification scope is. And then they tell you what the ISO certification scope is. So what I'm saying is, this is a client list, a potential client list for you. That's how QSI started, 34 years ago, by me contacting people on that list and asking to do internal audits. So it's a wonderful opportunity. And then the big thing is to maintain your certification. So maintaining certification is with any of the societies or organizations where you get your auditor certification, such as the ASQ and Exemplar Global. And there's a few others out there. They do have recertification requirements. So this will be gaining more information to show that you're contributing to the development of your career. And so they'll have you fill in some logs on a periodic basis. All the requirements are on their web pages. So that's on the back side of it after you start auditing. And then as you move forward and you begin auditing, consider, possibly the different types of audit tools that might be out there. So something that's really interesting, I bumped across some years ago, is this list here. And this is the ISO TC 176 Quality Management and Quality Assurance Auditing Practices Group. Now, what's really cool about this, as you go down the list, they're giving you various topics. And so if you want to talk about effective use of 19,011, which is the requirements for auditing, if you want to talk about audit planning, it's here. If you want to identify how to document nonconformances, there's something here. If you want to get down to more topics, this is about auditing processes, the context of the organization, personnel competencies, and so forth. So what I'm getting at is, this is just more fuel to your internal fire, so you can keep on moving on and continue to learn. So once you get into the swing of things in auditing, you'll have your own toolkit, you'll have your own methodology of how to perform audits, and I'm sure you'll be great and successful at it. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity, and I hope to talk to you sometime in the future. Mike, turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Bud. Great job, as always, on that presentation. Thank you for doing that for us today. I had a question for you, Bud. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but if you have another minute, maybe you can dive a little further into this for me. So for people that are maybe beginning this journey again, certainly just to take ISO 9001 for an example, quality management, if they're in quality and they kind of explore this path and they maybe do some internal auditing. And that's great. And I mean, that's very valuable as a career builder within quality. But what else can you do with that? So as you begin to branch out and then you get certified, maybe you get some more certifications, what other career pathways are you looking at?
Yeah, so they could learn internally about auditing their suppliers and start a supplier audit program. So that helps them hone their skills in auditing. And as they become more and more proficient, and let's say if they start off with an ASQ CQA, And especially if they join an organization like the American Society for Quality and go to their meetings, there are many companies that like to share auditors. So in other words, company A and company B may exchange their quality managers to do their internal audit. So they have a different view. And if you have a consortium of companies of that nature, they can switch auditors around so people could go and do internal audits in different parts of the industry. And I've seen that done very successfully. And and then from there, that could get into branching out, working with registration companies, or getting into finding a large company to do supply chain audits with. And I mean, I did this, in the 70s, right, in the nuclear industry. And I will tell you that I was on the road for over 45 weeks a year. When I get back home, I didn't know where I was, but it was auditing every week. And so, but it was the different types of products that we went into. I was lucky to get certified in different disciplines in civil, structural, in electrical, and mechanical. So that added to my skill set. And again, you look for those opportunities and learn how to expand them. But the big thing is, if you can, find a mentor that will help you, somebody that's done it, somebody that will give you some constructive criticism, and maybe give you some examples on how to help out to do that.
Great advice. Yeah, we always say that mentorship is great. It's great for both people. It's great for the mentee as well as the mentor.
Absolutely.
We always think about the fact that mentors have all this knowledge, but there's a lot we can learn from people on the other side too, who are looking at it with fresh eyes. That's always
Yeah,
an important thing too.
and
So
it is.
it's
That's
a good.
fantastic. I mean, I've done a lot of audits. I would not want to hazard a guess how many I've done. I've been to over 30 countries doing this, but the point is, what keeps me engaged is I keep learning, and it's the different opportunities that come along with that. So that's what is my goal, and what gets me excited about doing it.
Well, it's a great takeaway. If nothing else, to take away from this presentation is keep learning. Wherever you are in your career, keep learning. That's really where we need to be in this new age of ours. You're never done. You just keep going. So that's great advice, bud. Thank you for doing that.
Oh,
And thank you.
well, I'm sorry, Mike. One more thing that just kind of popped into my mind. So in this role today, right, post-COVID, so there's a lot of remote auditing coming out.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And there's some remote auditing task groups going on with, I think it's tag 302 with the ASQ, which is part of the ISO 19011 group that people might want to get involved with. And then there's the industrial accreditation forum has several publications out on remote auditing, as well as the ISO auditing group. And so it provides new methodologies and new tools for an auditor's toolkit.
Good. I mean, again, good point, because maybe these days you don't need to be on the road for 45 weeks out of the year. Maybe you can do a lot of that remotely, and that's a value too. So it's a brave new world. So we should all kind of explore that and experience it. So good job, bud. That was a great presentation. Really interesting. I hope everybody out there got a lot out of it as well. As I mentioned, these are all available on demand, of course. If you want to ask Bud any questions, or if you want to interact with us with anything you've seen here at the Expo, just write us at the address you see right there, info@exemplarglobal.org. We'll get your questions over to Bud, or we'll answer them ourselves or any of our other presenters here during the Expo. Also, if you watch this session, and we hope a lot of you have a chance to earn CPD. So check that out. You just go on the link here on the page, and you can process your CPD to show that you've committed to continual learning in your career as well. So again, Bud, thanks for doing that. Great job as always. Really appreciate having you here at the Expo. Thanks for doing that.
You bet, Mike. Thank you for the opportunity.
Good job. Good job. And all of you, thank you for being here as well. And check out the other sessions we have available for you here at Exemplar Global's Excellence in Auditing Expo 2024.
Good luck, everybody.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.